On a mission to have the Prime Minister excluded, they threw accusations before turning their attention to throwing flour and eggs at the Prime Minister and his cabinet members. Next week, Shkodra's Court of Appeal is expected to review the request submitted by the protesters detained over violent acts during the protest of the National Highway Tariff, who are seeking their release from prison. The EU and EBRD will support tourism development across 4 municipalities, Fier, Porcher and Shkodra and Berat, with the total fund being made available valuing €40 million. Was Eddie Paloka live outside of the Parliament. Welcome back to the English edition of Aura News. My name is Alexandra and I'm here to bring you the day's top stories from across the country translated into English. Rama should be excluded from the Assembly Hall, booms Barsha. From the moment this demand was made by the leader of the Democratic Party, Lulzim Barsha, the parliamentary session today did not proceed normally for even 1 minute. The departure of the Prime Minister from the session was the opposition's goal, and for this they used flour, water and eggs, all of which were thrown at the Prime Minister and members of the Cabinet. The session was interrupted a total of 5 times. Neither intervention of the Assembly services to clean up the hall nor the exclusion of three Democratic MPs, Flamur Noka, Clevis Balio and Ervin Saliani by the Parliament Speaker, Gramos Rucci, for violent actions were actions which restored normality. Excluded MPs refused to leave the Assembly while continuing their agenda to prevent a normal session. The moment when DPs Clevis Balio threw eggs at Minister Bushati and the latter responding with water brought the biggest tension in the Assembly. The media were not allowed in the hall during the moment of the session's interruption, but former Prime Minister Sali Berisha turned into the digital MP, transmitting live on Facebook while the media were not present. From the footage, it was clear that the Prime Minister remained in the hall for the full duration of the session while debating with opposition MPs. After more than an hour of accusations, debates and flour, eggs and water being thrown about, the majority voted on the draft laws despite the tense atmosphere. Democratic MPs ran out of the Assembly Hall to block the Prime Minister's exit, but with the assistance of the guards, he was able to exit using an alternative door. The Kuksians arrested in Kalimash for violent acts during the protest against the National Highway Tariff are demanding to be released. 11 protesters submitted the appeal against the decision by the Magistrates' Court via the Court of Appeals, through which they requested the removal of the measure imprisonment which was given to them last week. The detainees appealed for freedom, while the decision regarding their request will be made at the Court of Appeal in Shkodra. The magistrate's verdict was also appealed by the 12 people who are being investigated whilst free from imprisonment. Measures for all these people are expected to be reviewed next week at the Court of Appeals in Shkodra, as the court with the jurisdiction to review cases from the Magistrates' Court of Kuksians. The lawyers tasked with representing the individuals claim that the arrests of the protesters are illegal. They also claim that the evidence presented by the prosecution, such as video recordings, were not taken in accordance with the Code of Criminal Procedures. According to the prosecution, protesters are accused of violently opposing the police officers and of property destruction. But in addition to the protesters, the Kuksians prosecution has also registered a criminal proceeding for the police forces for committing arbitrary actions. The Ministry of Infrastructure and Energy has continued their tour of consultative meetings with citizens regarding the National Highway Tariff. The Deputy Minister, Artan Shkreli, was in Trapoya, where he stressed that there will be a special treatment for frequent road users as well as for students and the elderly. As for those who do not use private cars, and here I am talking about people who are in the greatest need, such as students, regular public transport users and the elderly, of course there will be special treatment. Also, for frequent users, we determine a formula for concessions for these people, such as this sir here, who goes several times per month to Tirana. This will ensure you can all move without problems, and we will find a way for you to be identified at the toll booth, said Artan Shkreli. Shkreli was also received at a meeting by Mayor Dushai, with whom he discussed the issue of infrastructure and the negotiation process between the government and the tendered company, referring to the maintenance of the national highway. Meanwhile, consultations will also continue in other municipalities of the Kuksians district. Entrepreneurs in the field of tourism in the cities of Fier, Corca, Shkodra and Berat will have the opportunity to benefit from a fund of 40 million euros financed by the EU and EBRD. In the first phase, 20 million euros will be spent on assistance in infrastructure, roads and services across these 4 municipalities. For the head of the EU delegation, Romana Vlahutin, the issues of ownership and consumer security are the main challenges for business in Albania. We will invest 40 million euros with the help of the EBRD. In the first phase, the investment will be 20 million euros. One of the challenges is the issue of ownership, and without a solution for this, there is no development. Consumer security also remains a concern. Albania does have the potential to develop tourism that operates year-round, advised Romana Vlahutin. Minister of Tourism and Environment, Blendi Klausi, stressed that the tourism sector needs higher quality services in order to emerge from adolescent adventures to adventurous adolescence. Both Minister Klausi and Ambassador Vlahutin expressed that, in addition to tourism development, care must be shown in regards to protection of the environment. Also during the meeting, business representatives sought more attention from the Ministry and representatives of the EU and EBRD. The long weekends and the favourable weather have led to the first vacationers to arrive at the beach of Durrës the past few weeks. But as these images show, what they have found hasn't quite met expectations. Officially, the season starts in June, so the municipality of Durrës has started with preparations to guarantee a successful and trouble-free season. In function of this purpose, the heads of institutions gathered in the prefecture to coordinate their work. Beach safety and the reduction of noise pollution are the 2 conditions that locally elected leaders are obliged to deliver on, as demanded by a federal government decision. Eliminating the dumping of sewage into the sea is another direct request of Prime Minister Edi Rama, who a few days ago warned of strong measures to be taken against any subject that is caught doing so. The municipality of Durrës has the administrative responsibilities for the coastline area starting from the Cape of Rodon and in the north and stretching to Shkambia Kavaias. The area of coast still has problems, but Mayor Vanjush Darko told Ora News a few days ago most of these problems will be solved before the start of the tourist season. An event held thanks to a joint venture by the municipality of Tirana, the Ministry of Health and Social Protection and the Albanian Network of Centres for Street Children was held at Skanderberg Square today, coinciding with International Children's Day. Present at the event, the Mayor of Tirana called for the responsibility of caring for street children to be one borne not only by institutions, but by the involvement of every Albanian citizen. Every citizen that sees a child on the street has the responsibility to report their whereabouts. If someone thinks that by giving 20 lek they are doing their job as a citizen, it's important they realise they are only perpetuating the problem and keeping the child on the streets away from education, explained Erion Veliai. Also attending the ceremony organised on International Children's Day, the US Ambassador, Donald Liu, shared an experience of his children helping street children in India, explaining they contributed their entire savings to helping them. I am very proud of my children because they saved their coins for 3 years, which allowed them to donate hundreds of dollars to a non-governmental organisation which provides assistance to children on the streets of India, said Donald Liu. For the US Ambassador, Albania needs to do more for its children, especially in the current climate. The country continues to approach EU membership and we hope that Albania can take better care of its children, said Ambassador Liu. As she listed some figures showing the successes of the department she represents, the Minister of Health and Social Protection, Ogerta Manastirliu, pledged for new centres and more social workers. She explained 251 children are managed by social services and are included in our support programs. They are today part of the programs offered by social community and residential centres. Following reintegration programs, they have received healthcare and their families have been provided with a flat through the municipal social programs. And that's the news across the country today. Thank you for watching our English edition this evening and be sure to join me again every Monday to Saturday at 6 p.m. for the latest news from Albania. Once again, on behalf of Ora News, thank you and good night.